Hello, everyone. How are you? I hope you're doing well, staying safe, and in good spirits. Before we get into tonight's story, I just want to thank you all for the amazing comments you leave. Honestly, they motivate me more than you know. Every time I read them, I feel encouraged to work harder and bring you even better stories. And hey, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and hit that button. Make it a habit. If you want to support me, just like the video and share it with your friends and family. Even if you don't share, at least like and subscribe. It really means a lot to me when you guys show that kind of support. Thank you so much. Now, let's move on to tonight's story. And let me warn you, this one is terrifying. If you get scared easily, maybe keep a light on in your room. Look around you, and just in case, check under your bed, because this story might just shake you to your core. Let's begin. The story begins. Hi, my name's Mike. I'm a long-haul truck driver from a small town in upstate New York. I'm not going to reveal my last name because, well, a lot of truckers listen to this channel. One of my buddies, also a trucker, recommended it to me, and I just don't want people I know figuring out who I am. Last year, during those massive floods that swept through parts of the Northeast, similar to the way floods hit the Midwest too, my family was badly affected. See, my uncle, who's lived in Canada for decades with his wife and kids, still owns a house in our old hometown. It's a beautiful, almost historic house. Since he made good money abroad, that home always stood out in the village. It wasn't just any old country house. It was the place they stayed whenever they came back to visit the States. When the floods came, government officials forced everyone to evacuate. Whole neighborhoods were underwater. People left with nothing. My uncle called me and said, "Mike, that house has a lot of valuable stuff in it. Electronics, furniture, things I've shipped in from overseas. Take your truck, grab a few friends, and get that stuff out. Just get it somewhere safe." So that's exactly what I did. I told a few of my buddies, guys I grew up with, that I'd pay them for the help. We planned to go in as soon as the water level dropped a little. About a week after the flood, we checked the area. The roads were still half submerged, but we knew the routes. We'd been driving them all our lives. With the headlights cut across the flooded forest, the sound of the water hitting the truck's tires echoed in the silence. It didn't even feel like we were on land. It felt like we were sailing a boat straight through a drowned world. Not a single person around. Just us, the water, and the shadows. As he pushed deeper, we suddenly heard an engine in the distance. A boat. My buddies panicked, whispering, "That's gotta be the rescue patrol. If they caught us, they'd fine us or send us back." So I killed the engine. We sat there in silence, in the middle of that drowned forest. The patrol boat passed somewhere in the distance, searching for anyone left behind. That's when one of my friends, sitting in the back, started stomping his foot hard against the truck's floor. Bang! 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 I spun around. What the hell are you doing? He looked pale. His fingers shot toward the water. Mike, there's someone out there. I leaned out the window, and that's when I saw him. A man, standing waist deep in the water, dressed in soaked white clothes. He wasn't moving, just staring at us. We couldn't shout because of the patrol nearby, so I waved at him, trying to gesture, "Do you need help?" He just stood there, staring. Then suddenly he dove headfirst into the water and vanished. We waited. Nothing. No ripple, no movement, just gone. My stomach turned cold. But a few minutes later, as a patrol boat moved farther away, we restarted the truck and kept going. When I glanced into the trees on my right, I froze. The same man was standing behind a tree, waist deep in the water, staring at us. This time, he grinned. His laugh echoed, loud, wild, but no sound reached us, as if it was happening in our heads. That was it for me. I slammed the accelerator. The truck roared forward through the water. But then we heard splashing, fast, too fast. Something was chasing us, running through water at a speed no human could. My friends started pounding the truck's walls, screaming at me not to stop. I glanced at the side mirror. He was there, sprinting through the flood right behind us. And then, just like before, he dove under. Gone. The village. By the time we reached the village, our nerves were shot. The place was drowned in darkness. No power, no sound. Just pitch black homes half submerged in muddy water. We parked as close as we could to my uncle's house. Water up to our knees, we hauled furniture, electronics, and anything valuable onto the truck. Every sound echoed like thunder in that silence. Then one of my friends tapped my shoulder. His face was pale. "Mike, look." I followed his gaze. On the door of the abandoned house next to my uncle's, fresh, wet handprints. Not old, fresh. We all swore none of us had gone near that place. So how? It was impossible. The whole village was empty. My gut twisted. I told everyone, "Move faster. Let's finish this and get the hell out. This place, it isn't right." The voice. As we worked, the silence was suddenly broken by a sound that made my blood run cold. A man's voice, groaning, crying out in pain. It came from somewhere deep in the village. We froze. Everyone had heard it. I whispered, "Someone's alive. Someone's trapped." We couldn't just leave someone suffering. So, with flashlights in hand, we followed the sound to a 2-story house at the far end of the street. Its walls were bare concrete, never painted. The moans grew louder as we approached. The front door hung open. We stepped inside. The sound was coming from upstairs. "Hello," I shouted. "Are you okay? Do you need help?" No response, just the groaning, louder, harsher. We climbed halfway up the staircase, shining our light toward the second floor. And then silence. For a moment, nothing. Just the dripping of water. And then thud. 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 Footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Coming toward the stairs. My chest tightened. Every instinct screamed at me to run. We raised the flashlight, and that's when we saw it. A figure, human-like, but not human. Its face was lost in shadow, yet somehow the light caught what mattered. Rows of teeth. Too many teeth. And eyes, just pale, glowing white orbs, staring straight at us. Inside the house. The thing on the stairs froze when our flashlight hit it. For a second, I couldn't even breathe. Its body was twisted, its skin grayish, like it had been soaked in water for days. The eyes, God, those eyes were glowing like dim flashlights in the dark. Then, without warning, it let out a scream that rattled the whole damn house. Not just loud, a sound so sharp and unnatural it made our ears ring. That was it. We bolted. All four of us tore down the stairs, splashing through the water on the first floor, nearly slipping as we ran. Behind us, the sound of footsteps exploded, fast, inhumanly fast, like something leaping from wall to wall instead of running. We didn't stop until we were outside. I spun, ready to see it chasing us out into the street. But the doorway was empty, just silence. The drive back. We didn't speak, not one word. We carried the last of the furniture onto the truck, our hands shaking, our clothes soaked through. Nobody argued, nobody joked. By the time we slammed the trailer doors shut, it was close to 3 a.m. As I started the engine, one of my buddies whispered, "Mike, behind us." I glanced at the mirror. For at first, nothing. Just a dark stretch of flooded forest fading behind us. And then, headlights. A vehicle. No sound, no engine, just two pale white lights speeding toward us from behind, floating across the water like it wasn't even touching the ground. My friend leaned out the window to look closer, and his face went pale. There's no car, no truck, just lights. I floored it. The engine roared, but the lights kept pace with us, closer, closer, until they were right behind the trailer. Then just like that, they vanished. Gone. As if nothing had ever been there. The aftermath. By sunrise, we finally made it back to dry land. The whole ride, none of us spoke. When we got to the drop-off point and unloaded the truck, my uncle called to thank me. but I couldn't tell him what had happened. I couldn't explain the man in white, the thing in the house, the lights that chased us. Even now, almost a year later, I still have nightmares about that night. Sometimes I dream I'm back in that drowned forest, headlights cutting through the water, and the man in white is just standing there again, smiling. Other times, I hear the footsteps coming down those stairs. And sometimes, I wake up in the middle of the night and swear I see those pale white headlights shining through my bedroom window. Closing narration. So, that's my story. Believe it or not, I don't care. But I know what I saw. And if you ever find yourself driving through a town after a flood and you spot someone standing in the water, watching you, don't stop. Don't wave. And for God's sake, don't follow the sound of their voice.